This is The Sports Life.
We got 10, 9, everybody flat along the baseline except for Sam out into the timeline. 5 seconds to go. Sam drives the ball, kicks it. It is Lawrence, puts it up. God! 2 seconds to go. Inbounds play. I'm going to pass out. The game is over. Nebraska wins it. Nebraska wins it. Nebraska wins it.
And welcome into the Sports Life. Will Teeman here along with Dalton Shetler. And yes, it is true. Nebraska wins it. I'm really worried about Kent Pavelka. Is he passed out? Is he okay?
I was going to say, we might need an actual update. Somebody, if you know Kent in your life, reach out. Make sure he's all right.
Let us know before the show's over. But that was his take on a great upset win Nebraska had at Illinois, as the Huskers are for real.
Yeah, they most certainly are undefeated. And by the way, that's going to be a part of this week's show. We're going to be catching up with Justin Fromer from Hastings Tribune to talk about the undefeated, red-hot Nebraska Cornhuskers. And also, hey, besides just all this basketball action, college football playoffs are coming up. In the Big Ten in action this weekend, the Oregon Ducks face James Madison, and we'll be catching up with Joey McMurray to break down all things Ducks.
And, of course, we're going to talk about the Big Ten football, but stories about Big Ten football. Who better to chat with than Bill Bender of the Sporting News?
That's right.
Well, sounds of the week. What do we got besides people passing out?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, somebody else who maybe could have passed out from being excited, Fernando Mendoza, the Hoosier quarterback, ends up winning the Heisman Trophy. Here's what he had to say as a part of his speech, hoisting the new hardware.
I'm at a loss of words. Wow, I mean, thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. First, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to chase a dream that once felt the world away. Standing here tonight, holding this bad boy, representing Indiana University, still doesn't feel real. If you told me as a kid in Miami that I'd be here on stage holding this prestigious trophy, I probably would have laughed, cried like I'm doing now, or both. Because this moment, it's an honor, it's bigger than me. It's a product of a family, team, community, and a whole lot of people who believed in me long before anybody knew my name. This is an important one. I want every kid out there who feels overlooked, underestimated to know I was you. I was that kid too. I was in your shoes. The truth is, you don't need the most stars, hype, or rankings. You just need discipline, heart, and people who believe in you. And you need to believe in your own abilities. I hope this moment shows you that chasing your dreams are worth it, no matter how big or impossible they seem. God bless. Go Hoosiers. Thank you guys all.
Wow. That's something, isn't it?
Oh, he's such a well-spoken young man. I think everybody's been a really big fan of Fernando Mendoza if they've gotten to know him on this big stage this year. And, boy, he delivered with this moment, his Heisman moment there at that speech.
And I don't know if anybody saw his TV interview after they beat Ohio State in the title game to win the Big Ten Championship. All the looks during the game, calm, cool, no expression as he's going through his business. And then all of a sudden, after the game, there's this guy going crazy.
He was hysterical. His voice, the whole interview sounded like this.
I know.
He was just so excited.
I mean, is that the same guy?
It was really pretty awesome.
He was the same guy, and congratulations. And he earned it. He earned it.
Absolutely, he did. Segueing to a more negative story, the story of Ann Arbor and what's happened with the Michigan football program. Look, the Wolverines, with all of the different chaos that's circling this football program right now, they're still getting ready for a bowl game. And interim coach Biff Poggi talked with the media ahead of the bowl game about what's going on with the team, given all the circumstances.
It has been a tumultuous time, and a lot of, anger, and then, first disbelief, then anger, then really what we're in right now is the phase of, the kids, quite frankly, feel very betrayed, and we're trying to work through that. Met individually with all the players multiple times. And with the parents, Zoomed with the parents multiple times. And the message has been listening, right? I want to listen to them. There's been a wide range of emotions, as you can imagine. And we've kind of are going through those steps They're not over yet, and I don't expect them to be over for a while, quite frankly.
That sound coming courtesy of Brad Galley at WXYZ TV in Detroit.
You know, it's amazing, and everybody has an opinion, and I will admit I'm not in Ann Arbor, and I'm not in the middle of all the meetings and what's going on, but I do know this. The football program at Michigan is not the one that I saw when I grew up as a kid, and they've been under scrutiny for a long time now, including the Harbaugh era. So at some point you got to wonder, when does the old Michigan group come back? So with that, we're going to take a break. And when we return with more of the sports life, a little look at the Oregon Ducks. But first, a timeout.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you have diabetes, listen up. If you have insurance, you can qualify for a continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends and spend more time in range, significantly lowering your A1C. More importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and if you've seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for your own CGM right now. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances will cover your CGM, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the Aptiva Medical CGM Health Hotline right now.
800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. That's 800-948-6912.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission.
Hello, how are you doing today?
She wants more people to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors.
Are you an organ donor?
Yes, I am.
Yay.
My goal is to sign up the most people in the United States.
What drives her? Roxanne's own life was saved through the gift of a heart transplant, made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day that I was going to devote myself to the cause of organ donation and signing people up and honoring my donor by doing that.
Now she's back to health, and she's a powerful force helping to save lives every day through her work. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life.
8 people can be helped with the major organs, and up to 50 people can be helped with a little bit of everything. And when you think about it that way, that you could help that many people, it's amazing. It really is.
Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, for the second straight year, the Ducks of Oregon have made the college football playoffs and have been a big factor in their new conference, the Big Ten. And Joey McMurray, a member of the Oregon Radio Network broadcast team, is joining us. And Joey, thanks for being a part of the show again. And I thought, given all the givens, why don't we just start off with you giving us sort of the state of the union of the Ducks football program at the moment?
Boy, I think it's a pretty exciting time for Oregon football. I mean, you're in the college football playoff again. They were in the college football playoff last year, and remember that, just to put it in perspective, there was one returning starter on offense from last year's team that was ranked number 1 going into the CFP, lost to that buzzsaw that was Ohio State, ultimately won the national title. This year, Oregon's the number 5 seed, and they had one returning starter on offense. I think that the state of the union is pretty solid for the Ducks right now, and it's been a good first couple years in the Big Ten Conference.
Well, and of course, last year, Oregon wins the Big Ten Conference. This year, right now, the 5th seed in the college football playoff. And what's kind of odd about that is so you don't win the Big Ten this year if you're Oregon. And last year, of course, you had a tough rematch with Ohio State. You beat them the first time, but you lose this time. And this is kind of a ridiculous question because Oregon's 24-2 in the last 2 years, but is there maybe some kind of fuel or chip on the shoulder for Oregon having not won the Big Ten a second straight year? Any kind of motivation like that in the postseason?
Well, perhaps. I mean, Coach Lanning made it pretty clear to the team after losing to Indiana that you're in the playoffs now. Like, you don't get to lose another game. That was the philosophy that the Ducks really embraced after that Indiana loss. And it was interesting this week, Dante Moore, Duck quarterback, even said that his approach to games changed after losing that Indiana game. He said that he made that game bigger than it was, and he described it as, quote, too locked in. He didn't have that same joy about playing the game of football about him. And he said his teammates actually called him on it. His teammates were like, Dante, you're not the same guy. And that leadership, that moxie, that want to follow Dante Moore, he made it sound like it wasn't there. And I think that kind of speaks to your question too of, it's a team that always every team, I guess, has to approach things the right way. And it seems like Oregon has learned from the loss to Ohio State. The Ducks have made some adjustments to their build up to a college football playoff game. This one had a similar length of time because, as you alluded to, Dalton, like, this team played in the Big Ten championship game last year, then had time off to observe the home hosted games, the first round games last year, then played Ohio State on New Year's Day. Well, without playing in the Big Ten title game, it's actually a similar amount of time in terms of a layoff for this team. So the Ducks made some adjustments to the schedule. I think that they've just learned things from those losses, whether it be the Ohio State game and how they approach the long layoff, or it be the Indiana game and this year and just the way that the players approach any given, I was going to say Saturday, but now we know college football doesn't always just get played on Saturday.
That is true. It's a good point. And Joey, you've been around Oregon for some time. A lot of people will leave Eugene and say, that's got to be the loudest stadium there is, partially due to the architecture of Autzen Stadium, but also just the rabid fan base and how passionate they are. A college football playoff home game at Autzen Stadium, how electric will this atmosphere be?
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I will be honest with you. I was a little disappointed, I guess, to see that the CFP, by the way, sets the ticket prices. So there's no control from the home team about that. And the prices I thought were a bit high. That's just between you, me, and this interview. But I thought that the prices were a little high. And now on the secondary market, they've come down, which I think will allow a lot more fans to come. Because believe me, and the reason I say this isn't to take a shot at the CFP or whatever, but like, I know as an Oregon fan, like, if I had to think about coming to a home game and then maybe going to an Orange Bowl and then all the way back to a Peach Bowl and then back to Miami again for a championship game, like, if Oregon's fortunate enough to go that far and the Ducks take care of business, that's a lot of money for the fan base to spend on traveling too. Oregon, with where the Ducks are in the bracket, that's why they're heading that far east, right? Or they just are, I guess, heading that far east. And so you asked me about the environment at Autzen. I fully anticipate the environment at Autzen to be outstanding. I mean, it's the latest in the calendar year that a game has ever been played at Autzen Stadium, and that's because it is a one-of-a-kind, first-of-its-kind college football playoff game at Autzen Stadium. I really look forward to seeing what Oregon's fan base is like because it is so unique. And it's kind of akin to when Oregon hosted the first ever Pac-12 championship game. The first iteration of the Pac-12 championship game was a home-hosted event. The Ducks hosted UCLA in that game, absolutely smoked them. They put in additional scaffolding to have extra seats. I mean, but it wasn't quite an Oregon home game. You know, it had Pac-12 branding everywhere, and it wasn't exactly the same thing. And that's the way this CFP game, I think, is going to feel, where it's a home game, but there's just a few extra things that go on that make it a little bit of a neutral site for, in this case, James Madison. And, you know, I've heard people compare it to like the NCAA tournament, where if you host an NCAA tournament event, like in women's basketball or volleyball or whatever it may be, that there's a lot of blue NCAA logos around what's usually a very green and yellow facility. And, you know, I think this is kind of akin to that, where it's a home game, but it has the feel of one of those NCAA events.
That'll be interesting. And you alluded to earlier, quarterback for the Ducks, Dante Moore. And I want to ask you because, look, you've had a lot of really good quarterbacks, a cradle of quarterbacks there in Eugene in the last decade, from Marcus Mariota to last year's Dylan Gabriel. What is it about Dante Moore from a skill set perspective that is maybe more unique, more different than some of the previous ones?
Well, unique, different. I don't know that I'm a big enough quarterback savant and expert to truly answer that.
We anoint you as the quarterback guru, Joey. You are the quarterback guru.
Well, I try. You know, I can at least regurgitate. I've often said that our roles is just to be a professional regurgitator. I listen to people that are a lot smarter than me, and then I put it into perspective for everyone else. And, you know, in that spirit, I guess, I'll tell you that I think that he has the great touch on the deep ball. He's exceptionally accurate, and he's kind of similar to Justin Herbert and Bo Nix, and at times Dylan Gabriel, in that he has the ability to run when he needs to. Doesn't do it often, but has the ability to do so. And like you mentioned, Marcus Mariota. I mean, Marcus ran by design more often than those other guys did in their careers. But similarly, Dante Moore has the ability to do that. He also, though, I think what sets him apart, and to echo this maybe from Will Stein, I know you asked me about the skill set, but I think what sets him apart from a lot of other student athletes around the country is what his offensive coordinator, now Kentucky football head coach Will Stein, has said, that he just has this moxie about him, and that want to follow him is something that it's hard to teach, you know, and even he talking this week about those comments I mentioned about him maybe making the Indiana game bigger than it was. Like, he is that self-introspective. And I think that's what sets him apart. Like, the skill set is there, right? We all see that he can throw a ball exceptionally fast with accuracy. We all see that he seems to read a defense very quickly, but man, that off the field stuff, I think, is what has separated him, particularly lately. That's why he's showing up in the first round of all these NFL mock drafts if he decides to go pro.
Fair point. And now his next challenge and opportunity comes in the college football playoff that we mentioned, December 20th, Oregon-James Madison. Let's take a look at this one, because this is a James Madison team and program that somehow continued to sustain the success they had under Curt Cignetti, then with Bob Chesney. Bob Chesney, in a bit of an odd situation that apparently just isn't that unique anymore in college football, with all these coaches kind of in different spots, but he's getting ready to be the next UCLA head football coach, but he's still leading James Madison through the playoffs. Bit of an interesting scenario, but what's the early scout on the Dukes?
Well, I think you're right about the roster turnover and construction. It's pretty amazing. I mean, Curt Cignetti obviously goes to Indiana for all the right reasons, and a lot of the players that beat the Ducks for Indiana earlier this year were part of that James Madison team. I mean, he recruited well and has developed really well, and Bob Chesney picked up right where Curt Cignetti left off, but it wasn't like he kept all the same players from that James Madison team that got Curt Cignetti the Indiana job. He in fact had to get about 50, 60 new players and rebuild it. And then here you are 2 years later, they win the Sun Belt. He's becoming a Big Ten head coach at UCLA. And they've put together a really multiple offense that's it's actually Tosh Lupoy, Duck defensive coordinator and soon to be Cal head coach, or I guess he is the Cal head coach, much like Bob Chesney, doing two jobs at once here. The fact is that they run a very complex offense that can really run the ball. I mean, top 10 nationally in rushing offense. Alonzo Barnett III, the quarterback, can really hurt you, the true definition of a dual threat. Wayne Knight, a 5'7" running back that's been really, really effective. I mean, they check all the boxes for an offense that likes to run the ball. And I think that, you talk about Bob Chesney and what he's been able to do. Well, much like Curt Cignetti, he's just won everywhere he's been, and he's really worked his way up the ranks of college football, all the way now to the UCLA head coach. I got a lot of respect for a guy that can win at multiple levels of football, and Bob Chesney's done that. Listening to his press conferences this week, you're not surprised that he got a job like the UCLA football head coach job. I think that he checks all the boxes, and that's JMU's offense, but their defense has also been top 10 nationally in rushing defense. Much like Oregon, although doing it in the Sun Belt rather than the Big Ten, much like Oregon, they pride themselves on running the ball and stopping the run, usually a good formula.
Well, Joey, as a final thought, keys for the Ducks against James Madison.
Start fast. I think as the home team, as the 5 seed, usually I say start fast on the road to take the crowd out of it. I say start fast this time to get Oregon's crowd into it. I mean, you talked about earlier the CFP atmosphere at Autzen Stadium, and if I'm the Ducks, I want to take the ball. I want to be like, okay, this is our turf, and you guys, if you can get that environment going in that way, that's saying something for Oregon. That can really be a difference maker. I think it's start fast, and if also you're the Ducks, it's take care of the football, because you should be able to score points and move the ball against this James Madison team. The Ducks have demonstrated they can do that against pretty much anybody. However, if you turn the ball over and you give the opposition and a little bit of that positive feeling, and suddenly the Autzen faithful might get a little bit antsy, I think you have to just take care of the football. And then also, to me, it comes down to, for Oregon's defense, you need to make sure you maintain the cage against Alonzo Barnett. I mean, again, a true dual threat quarterback. Stopping the run, I think it's not just, get through the O-line and maintain the pocket. It's really going to come down to, you don't want Barnett extending plays. So I think maintaining the cage and getting home on Barnett, so that he can't extend plays, that's a real key, because we all know, I mean, Oregon's secondary has been pretty elite this year, but if you ask them to defend forever, eventually a wide receiver gets open, and that's what a true dual threat quarterback can do for you. So specifically, I think you got to maintain the cage on Barnett, get home on him a couple times. That'll really help Oregon set a defensive tone in this game. And offensively, you just have to maximize your possessions. Don't turn it over. Don't give James Madison that hope as the underdog on the road.
Joey McMurry from the Oregon Radio Network, thanks a lot for your time.
You got it, fellas. Good to hear from you.
Well, when we come back, we're going to share some Big Ten football stories, courtesy of Bill Bender of the Sporting News. But first, this timeout.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
This is a potter's field. When people can't pay for their funerals, they are buried here. It is a lonely, desolate place, littered with unmarked headstones. No one visits. No one leaves flowers. But it doesn't have to be that way. For as low as $1 a day, you can ensure your family will have the money to pay your funeral expenses. We offer burial insurance plans that pay up to $30,000. Considering the average funeral costs more than $10,000, that's peace of mind for your family. There are no medical exams, your rates won't increase, and your policy cannot be canceled as long as you make your premium payments. Call now to get approved in minutes and ensure your final resting place is more than just a pauper's grave in a potter's field.
800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. That's 800-562-2407. Paid for by Final Expense Direct.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584. That's 800-810-1584.
And welcome back from Weather Sports Life. Will Teeman here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, when it comes to Big Ten football, a lot of storylines. The sport did not disappoint if you're looking for something to talk about. And the guy who's in the heart of it all, in the middle of it, Bill Bender from the Sporting News. And Bill, thanks for joining us again. And Dalton and I have a litany of things to ask you, but on the top of my hit parade is the Heisman Trophy winner from Indiana. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a different world we live in. And a deserving one on an undefeated team that won the Big Ten championship and continues to defy the critics at every turn. I mean, what an awesome job by Curt Cignetti. Fernando's Heisman speech was amazing. A good kid, another transfer portal QB. I mean, it wasn't a fluke. That's the thing. Like, we can't say any of this is a because Indiana's done it for 2 consecutive seasons. I just continually impressed with that program, those coaches, and Fernando Mendoza at the top of it.
Kind of along those lines, too, sticking with what the Hoosiers have done. They knock off the number 1 team in the country, being Ohio State, in the Big Ten championship game, 13-10. It just feels like this magic carpet ride just knows no limitations. It just finds new stops along the way. How do you, especially Bill, since you're such a talented writer, how do you kind of put the poetry in motion for Indiana, what that moment was in Indianapolis?
Well, so I remember Bob Knight, but not like the height of Bob Knight. Like I remember the early 90s basketball when he was around. I think Curt has done for the football program what Bob Knight did to the basketball program. The confidence, the swagger. Not everybody likes him, but you can't deny the results. And fundamentally their fundamentals as a football team are amazing. The way that they kept Ohio State in front and didn't give up big plays. The way they run the football with the punishing multi-running back attack, and then Fernando makes good decisions. I mean, it reminds me of what their basketball program used to be with Bob Knight. And maybe not as combative, but he is, right? Like he's not afraid to go after anybody and everybody at any time.
It's just unbelievable, really, to think about. Bill, I want to point your attention and direction to a much less positive story. The tough, really just kind of mess in Michigan. I don't really know how else to put it, with the firing of Sharon Moore and everything that's happened from there. Your take on everything that's happening in Ann Arbor, and where does Michigan football go next for a head coach in your eyes?
Well, I mean, that's the big question. I mean, the other part is it's really the word tragedy it could have been a lot worse. It really is tragic what happened to Sharon Moore, and having an inappropriate relationship and the fallout that happened afterward could have been worse. That's what I keep telling people. This could have been much worse, and we're lucky it's not. As far as the program, probably time to do a little in-house cleaning. Really take a look at yourself after 2 NCAA investigations, and now your coach getting in trouble. As far as the next coach, to me, I was literally just talking about this before it came on. I think it comes down to 2 guys. It really does. You press Kalen DeBoer if Alabama loses. You make him say no. You offer him whatever. Kenny Dillingham's interesting. And if those 2 guys say no, you're left with either calling Brian Kelly, trying to get Jeff Brom, those type candidates that maybe not exciting, but the least of their concerns should be recruits flipping and those kind of things. They need to find the right guy to clean this mess up.
Do you think when you talk, Bill, about cleaning the mess up, this could go into the athletic administration area as well?
Maybe. A lot of people asking about Ward Manuel and what will happen with him, and we'll see. That's a very fluid situation. Right now, it looks like his job's safe, and, the best thing that'll probably happen to Michigan in the next couple of weeks will be that, football season will be over and there'll be more focus on the basketball team, which has been pretty good. Michigan and Michigan State, boy, both of those teams are awesome this year. It's fun to watch. They're fun to watch, which I love. That would be one. And then, like I said, the thing is, some of the guys that would have been ideal fits for Michigan, in my opinion, one, Michigan State just hired Pat Fitzgerald. What a home run. Great to have him back in the Big Ten. Great coach, great guy. Going to be awesome to see him work again. And then Matt Campbell at Penn State. Matt Campbell was interested in the Michigan job before. He would have been a great fit. So they're late in the game here, so they're going to have to find the right guy, and that's going to take some work.
Well, Bill, actually, I'll just kind of follow the wake that you're setting there. You said Pat Fitzgerald home run hire. Why so to you?
Just think about how much football he's coached in the Big Ten, knows the landscape, knows the Midwest. I always thought, that phrase, did more with less, applied to him at Northwestern, but teams are always disciplined. Had a couple really, really good seasons at Northwestern. And you forget how young he was when he took over for Randy Walker. I mean, I remember that moment. And he coached for a very long time. And every conversation, interaction with him I've had over the years at Big Ten Media Day, whether, just asking a question or sitting in his press conference. I had a D3 coach tell me once, I said, I was at a Division III event, I said, who's your favorite FBS coach? Because they go to all those conventions. And he said, Pat Fitzgerald, without blinking. So you've got the quality character coach right there.
I want to go out west just for a second, Bill. There's been a coaching change, obviously, at UCLA. Bruins are trying to get back on track. Trojans had an okay year. We know about Oregon. But as you look at that four, do you see them, and maybe I'll take Oregon out of the mix, the other three, do you see them anytime soon becoming a group that can make a run at the championship in the Big Ten?
Well, I mean, all of those programs recruited well. USC had top recruiting class. Washington was doing much better in California. Sounds like Jed Fish is going to stay there. UCLA gets Bob Chesney, and you'll get to see him work on Saturday night. I mean, with the work he did at James Madison. And Oregon, obviously, probably the sleeper national championship team here at the 5 seed, and what they've been able to do since coming to the Big Ten. They've only lost 2 games. So one of them to a national championship Ohio State team in the Rose Bowl, one of them to Indiana in a game that was absolutely a 4-quarter game. So it's still weird sometimes to say a USC Big Ten big time Big Ten matchup. And I know Michigan State fans. I stayed up for that game too. By the way, they started that thing at like 11. It takes some getting used to, but it's been good for the conference.
I don't know if you can ever get used to those kinds of times, Bill, but I totally understand what you're saying. But Will brings up the West Coast flavor, and you talk a little bit about the Trojans. They had some big news recently that they re-signed their quarterback Jaden Mayava. And that's the kind of language we're using in college football now. Mayava re-signs with USC. Maryland re-signs Malik Washington and gets him to stay. What do you think about this new phenomena that's taking place this offseason where players are publicly announcing they're staying with the programs that they signed to?
I don't like it. I mean, I can say that. I don't have to like everything. But it's a little much. But I also live in a world where, you watch, ours never did it, but like 4th graders having signing day ceremonies for their travel summer team and stuff. It's the world we live in now. There are some things that speaking of things that you didn't think were possible. But it's also, I hope it's limited to quarterback, because that's really where these switches are happening at the most important position. I mean, you're seeing a portal at work right now. How many big-name quarterbacks are in the portal? Quite a few. So I think that's part of it. But good for Mayava to stay. Good for Maryland to keep their QB as well. He showed some potential this season, and we'll see how it goes. Malachi, right? Yeah, he was good in spots for them.
Well, and I do want to ask you, too, because you talk about the quarterbacks and some on the move. Dylan Raiola leaves Nebraska. What do you make of this heading into the portal?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise, knowing that he was a legacy recruit and all that, and had some ups and downs. And with young quarterbacks, you're kind of seeing that with Bryce at Michigan, that, when you play him right away, you need time to develop. And I think Dylan Raiola, actually, the school that I was like, man, imagine if LSU got a hold of him and Lane got him and got rolling with a 5-star quarterback to start his tenure there, I think it would fit. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. DJ Lagway, another one. There are just a ton of 5-star quarterbacks that, they started out at 5-star quarterbacks and then they transfer right away. And, or you onto them, and that's part of the game now.
Well, Bill, before we let you go, obviously we're moving towards crowning a new national champion for the year, and everybody's moving forward to the next Big Ten season. But as you look back to the regular season that we've just concluded, away from what Indiana did, anything just surprise you, catch you totally off guard?
I'm trying to think. That's a really good question, because the Indiana thing and Vanderbilt thing were written about so much. I would say the mess that the ACC became at the end of the season, right? Because it started out with so much promise on that first weekend when Florida State beat Alabama and Miami beat Notre Dame, and those are the two programs we know the most, and nationally anyway. And then they become this mess where you have a 5-loss conference champion, or, Miami getting into the playoff the way that they did. So I think that's one that caught me off guard. And nothing caught me off guard about Notre Dame. I mean, I'll go on your show or any other show, which I have, and say I think it's absurd they're out of the playoff, because they were dropped behind, and that's an entirely different segment for another day, but there was no reason to drop them behind Miami because they were ranked ahead of them. And we rewarded Alabama by losing by 3 touchdowns to Georgia. So any Notre Dame fans, and I know where I'm at and what station I'm on, but I think they've got a point. You got to listen to them over Christmas dinner.
I'm good. Well, Bill, I appreciate it. Hope you have a great holiday, and I know we'll see you soon.
Hey, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Bill Bender, always a good chat with the sporting news. Well, there's another hot topic going on besides Indiana football. It's called Nebraska basketball. I know, sounds strange. We're going to talk about it in just a minute.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-965-1292. 800-965-1292. That's 800-965-1292.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action?
Did the caller know your social security number or other personal information and tell you that your social security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your social security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Teeman here along with Dalton Shetland. Don't forget, Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you. Well, in the wide world of Big Ten sports, there's been a lot of talk about Indiana football and why not. It's one of the great stories in the history of the college game. Well, there's another great story brewing. It's in Nebraska, and it's not about football. It is about basketball. The Cornhuskers of Nebraska picked 14th in the preseason of the Big Ten, a team that just really couldn't get over the hump. And all of a sudden, we find them 11-0 to start the season. We find them in the top 25, which is not bad for where everybody thought they might wind up. They're currently 15th in all the land. So what is happening with Coach Hoiberg and his crazy Cornhuskers? Well, to maybe try to get the answer to this is Justin Fromer. And Justin, thanks for joining us. You see these guys up close in person in Lincoln. What is happening there?
Yeah, it's just this team is probably as connected as a group as you'll see in the Big Ten or even in college basketball at this point of the season. You know, they're old, they're experienced, they're one of the oldest rosters in the Big Ten. They all buy into their roles, knowing who the stars are, who the energy guys are, who the dirty work guys are to get the rebounds and go after loose balls. And they played their roles, as Greg McDermott said after their dominant win against Creighton a couple weeks ago, said they played their roles like champions. And you're sort of seeing that play out on the court, all that coming together, that chemistry. And you know, out in the outside of the program walls, obviously this is a big surprise, but inside of that locker room, what they're doing right now is not a surprise. They sort of knew what they had, especially with the return of seventh-year center Rank Mass coming back into the fold. And so this is what they expected from their transfer portal additions, like Price Sanford adding in his shooting. And where they're at is not a surprise to Fred Hoiberg and that group.
Sam Hoiberg, I remember when he was a walk-on. His label was, well, he's coach's son, and they get to hang out together. When did he become a real live contributor? Because he's a big part of this, isn't he?
Yeah, so he started a lot of games last year, but even what he's doing this year is a major jump up from what he was doing last year. I mean, no one expected him to be playing at the level that he is right now. And you talk about Mass doing everything for this team. Sam Hoiberg is sort of in that same boat where he'll have some nights where he scores, but I mean, you'll look at every night in his box score, he's got 5 or 6 rebounds, 5 or 6 assists, you know, a couple steals. He's normally near the top or at the top of the team in plus-minus rating each night. No, he never. If you think of a guy that you know is going to be consistent night in, night out on Nebraska's roster, it's going to be Sam Hoiberg, because you know what he's going to bring. He's got the coach's son basketball IQ. He never slows down. And he's sort of that typical, I mean, it's cliche, but that typical gym rat that each roster kind of needs to have.
You know, Justin, when Fred took the job in Lincoln, he had pretty admittedly mentioned that the philosophy was going to be a lot of spacing, a lot of threes, and that's how the Huskers were going to play. And I think during his tenure in Lincoln, it's evolved in different ways. It's picked up in some different ways. But right now, 11 games into this season, more than half of the shots the Huskers take are from deep. They've taken 676 shots altogether. 343 threes have been fired by Nebraska. It feels like maybe not so much to live or die by the threes if you're undefeated on the year, but they're putting them up at will.
Yeah, and it's not just them like coming down the court and swinging around the arc and shooting threes. The key principles of their offense is when they get paint touches and they draw defenders in and force opponents to make decisions on that, and that's what creates the open looks on the outside. So they're always looking for mass in the post or for guards to drive and then for the kickouts. And if threes aren't falling, they're not afraid to make cuts to the basket and let ranked mass make a post-up move and stuff. So they're very multi-dimensional in that way. Obviously, the threes have been a huge part of it, and when you're shooting it as well as they have right now, that's going to be what stands out. And they've played a major role in a lot of their wins. If you look at their comeback against Oklahoma, they were down double digits early in the second half, I believe, and then they made, I think, close to 10 or more threes in the second half there. And Price Sanford was a huge part of that. He was a huge part of it again in their upset of Illinois over the weekend. I think he had 3 or 4 in the first, before the first 2 media timeouts. So that's they're going to live and die by them but that's not just who they are. They have other ways to score as well.
Okay, guys, think back when Fred got the job, right? Remember he was talking about, we're mentioning the threes, right? His theory was simple. We're going to shoot the ball every so many seconds, and the theory is we're going to get a lot of shots off. We'll make our fair share, and we're just going to outscore you. He never mentioned the word defense much, and that didn't go so well. And while we talk about this wonderful offense Fred has come up with, look at that defensive number. The opponents are scoring 68 points a game while they're scoring over 83. So while he's getting the offense maybe he wanted several years ago, looks like he's found some defense to go along with it.
In defense, when you hear him talk now, especially each press conference he has, defense is going to be a big part of it. They know that's what spurs a lot of their offensive attack and gets them out in transition. He talks almost every time he speaks to the media about the amount of deflections that he wants his team to get and how many they've gotten like in a certain point of the game, because he knows that is what gets them out and running. Their defensive coach, their assistant Nate Lenzer, is one of the best in the Big Ten, one of the best in the country. He'll probably get a head coaching job sooner than later. And I mean, he sets an expectation early in these guys of how much effort you need to put in that side of the court, and it's a complex system. And if you're not able to run it, you're not going to play. Even if you're a great offensive player, that's sort of where their bread and butter always is, and that's how they are able to get out and run at teams the other end.
Justin, you mentioned it just a couple of moments ago, and we started the broadcast off actually with this show, hearing Kent Pavelka admittedly saying that he was passing out from the game that just happened in Champaign, Illinois with his call. Curious if you can make sure that Kent Pavelka is okay, but also for Nebraska in this win over Illinois, this feels like one of those signature milestone moments. I'm curious what the human element, the sentimental element was, the emotional element for the players and staff to get that landmark win in Champaign.
Yeah, so first of all, Kent Pavelka is the absolute best. He was sitting in front of me during that shot. I heard his screaming and all that stuff because the media seating in Champaign is right courtside. Mm-hmm. And then after the game, we're heading out, and I turn to him, and he just stares at me. He goes, "Oh my God!" I mean, as a fan and someone who's called games for Nebraska for 40+ years, he's loving this. But if you talk to the players, like I said, they expect this, and they already moved on to the next opponent Sunday against North Dakota. Obviously, the ramifications of the start of the season, and especially this week, have been huge. And if you think about all the national attention they're getting and the eyeballs that are now getting on this program that weren't there before is big. But the fact that they're not making that big of a deal of this inside of the locker room and are turning attention to the next point right away is sort of what has spurned the start in general, is that they don't get hung up on wins, and eventually when there is a loss, they're not going to get hung up on losses either, and they're able to shift attention to the next opponent and keep going forward.
Well, maybe the big question here is, as we look to the new year and all the teams hitting that 18 grind Big Ten schedule, is this Nebraska team built to endure?
I think so. If you look at the way their ability to handle adversity, and like I said, just have that what's next mentality, whether things are going good or bad. If you look at all their big wins this year, the Oklahoma game, they had a big deficit they had to climb out of. The Kansas State game, they had a double-digit lead that got evaporated quickly and had to hang on for that one. Illinois, most teams on the road, if you give up a 13-0 run to end the half, that's, spells danger zone, and they come out in the second half and attack right away and are able to, go wire to wire in the second half in that game. So I think that their next 3 Big Ten games are very telling. It's home against Michigan State, which who would have thought that was going to be a top 15, top 10 matchup at the start of the year, and then at Ohio State and at Indiana. I think if you can go 2-1 in that stretch, minimal, you're looking at a team that can compete for a double bye in the Big Ten tournament and be a contender for the title race come February, March.
Well, Justin, I hope you have a great holiday season, and good luck following this team, because I think they might be the real deal.
There's a lot of people here that think that too, and there's a portion of this fan base that is still waiting for the other shoe to drop because they've been let down so many times. But I think with each passing win, especially this one against Illinois, they're starting to realize that they may have something here.
Justin, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go. Some of the thoughts from Justin Fromer from the Hastings Tribune. So we're talking about Nebraska basketball.
Or as they say in Lincoln, Nebraska ball.
They do?
They do. That's their slogan.
That's awesome. I missed that one, Dalton. Better check my social media. Right. Well, when we come back with more of the sports life, our parting shots in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto Owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask.
Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners makes sense for you.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-298-9093. 800-298-9093. 800-298-9093. That's 800-298-9093.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope. Furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking?
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player. No matter the challenges I face every day in the NFL, my mom is always there for me, despite her own struggles with muscular dystrophy. And MDA is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today. Thank you.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler. Fun show. It's always great to talk to Bill Bender and get his take on various topics when it comes to Big Ten sports. Of course, Bill with the sporting news. And we took a look at Nebraska basketball. It is on fire right now. And, of course, a little sneak peek in what's happening with the Ducks of Oregon when it comes to football. A good show, so I hope everybody has enjoyed it so far. But still, parting shots are on the way.
And if you missed any of the good show, make sure you give us a follow at SportsLife Now on Twitter or X. It's again at SportsLife Now. We'll have everything posted there. But for my parting shot, I wanted to highlight, look, we've been talking basketball, football, everything, right? But what about football? Because the Big Ten is the king in the football world for college soccer. The national championship game came down to NC State and Washington, and the Huskies would win it. Here's what the game-winning call sounded like as they got the golden goal to win the national championship.
Amen in front. Kosakov through. Washington's wait is over. For the first time in program history, the Huskies are national champions.
There you have it. Washington wins the national championship in men's soccer this year, and my favorite part of the call and the moment, who let the dogs out playing in the background as the game-winning goal scored.
It's always good to be a champ, isn't it?
That's right.
It's always good to be a champ. Well, as we get ready for the new year, I always reflect a little bit back of some of the people that have had an impact on the Big Ten and or me personally that have passed away. And one fellow that really changed the landscape of the Big Ten was Mike White when he was head coach of the University of Illinois from 1980 to 87. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, the Big Ten, right? Well, when Mike White arrived in Champaign, a West Coast head coach, he brought the passing game with him and just changed the entire makeup of how Big Ten teams would start to move the football. And he won a Big Ten championship with the Illini in 1983. And here's something else he did, and I don't think will ever happen again, ever. That year that they won the Big Ten title, all teams played all other teams. It was a complete round robin, and Illinois won them all. Of course, we have 18 teams now. Unless we're going to play for 6 months, we can't play everybody, right?
You would have to play an NFL schedule with only members of your conference. That's
right.
Literally the length.
People worry about endurance. Hey, we're playing for 6 months. 12 off weeks. And the other person that had an impact on me was a guy named Bob Trumpy. Played some tight end at the University of Illinois. And I grew up in Cincinnati, and he was a member of the Cincinnati Bengals. And he was allowed to dabble in radio. And he actually was the guy that started sports talk radio in Cincinnati and would go on to become the #1 analyst in the NFL for NBC. So those two guys had an impact on how I viewed Big Ten football and, of course, how I viewed radio in general. And one final shout-out to Sister Jean, who had nothing to do with the Big Ten. She passed away this year at the age of 106. The team chaplain for Loyola of Chicago, and she was center stage when the Ramblers got to the Final Four in 2018. So, Mike White, Bob Trumpy, Sister Jean. What a group. And so with that, that's a wrap for our show. Hope everybody enjoyed it this week. And we should also note that you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, like SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple. And make sure to check us out and hit subscribe. As always, thanks to the Big Ten Network. The Sports Live is produced by Dalton Shetler. Our executive producer is Wendy Hart. So on behalf of Dalton, I'm Will Tiemann, and thanks for your time.